Go ahead, you're on now.
Okay, hi. This is Dick Taylor, and I am out here with Fletcher, who's running the camera at the Kiara Center, not far from Springfield. It's Wednesday afternoon, and this is Dan Fracheyj. And
Hello.
I'm going to ask you who you are. You're going to come and speak to us, right?
Yeah, I'm the program director here at the Kiara Center, and I'll be coming this coming Sunday for your 10 o'clock service?
10:30.
10:30, I would have been early. And I want to introduce people more to Francis of Assisi, who over 800 years ago kind of revitalized Christianity in Central Europe in a real profound way that still is reverberating today.
Well, then tell me about St. Francis. What attracts you to him?
He was a very worldly young man in the beginning, a very theatrical fellow.
And Assisi is a place in central Italy.
That's correct. That's correct. And so he was from well-to-do family, rising merchant class, and he had an experience of going off to fight the local town of Perugia, which is what a lot of feuds going on back then, and coming back kind of a shell-shocked young man, not knowing really what was important after his year of captivity, and praying in a small church, he saw this crucifix, and he just heard this interior voice of God saying, "Francis, go rebuild my church, for as you see it is in ruins." And he was ripe for some change. His life started to turn around and made this departure from the world, if you will, like other ancient monastics, but yet working in the world.
Yeah, well, most Americans know him for his environmental stuff. You know, when we did our email back and forth, you said that a lot of people know him for birds and squirrels.
Yeah.
And that's not what you like him for, right? Or that's only part of what you like him for.
Yeah, obviously Francis loved the world. He had a vision that all things were connected of God. We were connected with the elements, the planets, and of course the earth itself, the plants, the animals, so much like us, and especially with one another. He came from a very fragmented time when there was so much war and division, similar to today.
What century are we talking about?
We're talking the 13th century, so actually This is around the year 1200. Again, the Crusades are happening. There's a growing merchant class, the division between wealthy and poor. And that's really the Francis I'd like to talk more about, is the Francis that saw Christ in the poor in one another. He saw the dignity of the human person, starting with the leper, which he used to hate to see. He held contempt for lepers, but a moment of conversion is when he got off his horse and he embraced one. And that was a key moment for him to start to live this message of the gospel.
Now, the Franciscans are known as a mendicant order. What does that mean?
Well, Franciscans today are pretty stationary, though. I mean, we're not out and about, although you'll see sisters working and brothers working in cities, all kind of ministries from healthcare to immigrant refugees, assisting them. You'll see education. They've really integrated over the centuries to wherever there's a need.
But originally, he just traveled around, didn't he? I mean,
yeah, and he called it a form of preaching. When he would walk, and he wouldn't even say much of anything except "Good morning, good people." And his young brother said, "Francis, when are we going to preach?" And he said, "Well, we have been preaching by the way we've encountered with joy." And to really say something like that to a human being who feels so degraded, "Good morning, good person. I see goodness in you."
So you wrote to me that he saw the face of Christ in the poor.
Yes.
And I'm not sure I quite understand that.
Yeah, I was referencing, Mother Teresa said this recently, where she said, "I see Jesus Christ in the distressing disguise of the poor." To see Christ in somebody is to see the full dignity of the person that God has created us to be, according somebody their full status, the gifts. Women are really calling for this today. Can you see us? Can you see us for the gifts that we bring? The refugees, can you see me as a human being who just wants to have something better for my family? That's the wandering Christ. That's the emerging Christ in the disguise of a woman or a refugee.
So